Welcome to That's Good Sports. I'm Brandon. Nothing good happens after 10 p.m. Perna. And today, I want to finally talk about who the hell the Denver Broncos should draft at number 10. Anyone who starts talking about the draft before free agency is a virgin. That's not an insult. They're just the only people who have the time to start mocking drafts in December. But here in April, it's finally appropriate to make the same half-hearted guesses everyone else has already made about the draft. And I want to give a big shout out to my dad, Greg Perna, I don't know why I sounded angry, for building the new set backdrop that you see here at That's Good Sports. Thanks, Dad. Thanks for supporting my dreams. Even though I continue to not achieve them. That's Good Sports. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel. I will have Patreon shoutouts at the end of this episode, but right now we are sponsored by Manscaped.
Aerospace engineers got bored after they conquered outer space, so they decided to focus their brain power in a more important direction, designing skin-safe technology that makes manscaping easy for everyone. From the lawnmower to the plow to the new out-of-this-world crop mop ball wipes, the universe is vast, which means there's probably alien life forms out there somewhere. Use Manscaped ball wipes so the alien life forms don't grow below the belt. They're also handy for polishing your space helmet. Like the parts on a spaceship, the ceramic blade on the Manscaped Lawnmower 2.0 is easily replaceable. If Tom Hanks can fix Apollo 13 without gravity, you can swap parts on your pube mower. Men, if you want to be cleared for liftoff, keep it trim and keep it fresh down there with Crop Mop Ball Wipes. Save 20% with promo code SPORT20 or my link in the description for your manscaping kit today.
Yeah, the Broncos. They selected number 10, which means they were in the top third for worst teams in the NFL last season. As a quick refresher, I will list the guys taken at 10 over the last few years. You know what they say, you gotta rewind history so you're not watching repeats of Two and a Half Men. 2018, it was quarterback Josh Rosen. His player status? Pending. Then, quarterback Patrick Mahomes. That was a hit. Corner Eli Apple, never performed like a first-round corner. Running back Todd Gurley has been better than literally everyone selected ahead of him. Tight end Eric Ebron, a bust until he got to Indy with Andrew Luck. Guard Chance Warmack, pseudo-bust. Corner Stephon Gilmore, finished as the best corner in 2018. And the perfect man to end this list with, Blaine Gabbert at 10. At best, Denver could land the next Patrick Mahomes. At worst, another Blaine Gabbert. Which means at 10, anything can happen. What's intriguing about this draft for the Broncos is nobody knows, nobody has a clue what John Elway will do at number 10. The NFL's mock drafter dude experts have the Broncos selecting quarterback Drew Lock, linebacker Devin White, quarterback Dwayne Haskins, tight end TJ Hawkinson, and others. What we do know is Elway does whatever the hell he wants when drafting, from Paxton Lynch to Garrett Bowles to the pleasant surprise of Bradley Chubb. Elway's similar to Cersei Lannister that way.
I do things because they feel good.
And Elway drafts guys because he feels good about them.
I fuck my brother because it feels good to feel him inside me.
I believe Denver will take a quarterback. Only if their guy falls to them, and I think they have a guy, and I hope that guy is Dwayne Haskins. If that doesn't happen, it probably means one of the top defensive players will be there for them. So let's begin with the guy I hope somehow miraculously falls to the Broncos in Ed Oliver, defensive lineman. Aside from having two first names, Ed Oliver is the ideal prospect on the defensive line. He can play in any scheme, anywhere from edge to nose tackle, and has been compared to Aaron Donald for his explosion, athleticism, and elite double first name status. If you're compared to Aaron Donald, though, I doubt you make it to 10. Now, many people believe with Vic Fangio, the Broncos will go defense at 10, and with his history of producing Hall of Fame linebackers, maybe that player is a linebacker. I think the Broncos actually need more help on the defensive line than they do at middle linebacker. A reason Ed Oliver may actually fall to 10 is because there are a bunch of edge rushers in this draft that will be needed by basically every single selecting team ahead of the Broncos. Nick Bosa, Josh Allen, and Montez Sweat, or is it Montez Sweet? projected all to go top 10, and the Broncos don't need an edge rusher, which is great. Throw in a couple quarterbacks going in the top 10, and that the Buffalo Bills and Jacksonville Jaguars could use help on the offensive line, and Ed Oliver could be in line to replace Adam Gotsis as the starter next year and provide security if this is Derek Wolfe's last season with the Broncos. In one area I think the Broncos can get a lot better in is interior pressure. Both the Eagles and the Rams made it to the Super Bowl because that was a big strength on their defenses. Then we have the double Ds, Devin White and Devin Bush. I've already made enough double D jokes to last a lifetime, so no more. Devin White seems to be the popular choice, if for no other reason than it feels like the smart choice. Not that it would or wouldn't be the smart choice, just that it seems like it. And he might be. The Broncos could really use some speed at middle linebacker and have lacked a good cover linebacker really since Danny Trevathan. Plus, how can you not like a guy who looked death in the face and said, "Not today, Junior," and then was given the Butt Kiss Award for doing so? We saw what Vic Fangio was able to do with Roquan Smith last year, and White has a similar profile. Both around 6 feet, 235 pounds, run anywhere from a 4.4 to 4.5 40, and both were big stars in the SEC that could end up going anywhere from 5 to 10. Smith went 8. A lot of people say Devin White's not as good as Smith, so it's a practical idea that he could fall to 10 if it weren't for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are likely to take Devin White as they let Quan Alexander walk in free agency. And it makes a ton of sense to grab White at 5 and plug him in next to Levante David. That leaves Devin Bush, who isn't projected as a top 10 player, except in this one CBS mock draft, to the Broncos, which means if he is Denver's guy, they can trade back to pick him. A possibility since they only have 7 picks this year and might want to collect another draft pick. The Steelers are the most linebacker needy team sitting back at 20 after Tampa Bay, maybe the New York Giants, but as long as the Denver Broncos don't trade past them, Bush could notch them a later round pick while also providing them with the athleticism they need at the position. My opinion, take a guy like Mack Wilson later in the draft because he may be the best pass coverage backer available. And I'm not sure this position is as big of a need as everyone else is making it out to be. Between Josie Jewell, Todd Davis, Keyshawn Beria, Joseph Jones, and Alexander Johnson, Fangio may already have what he needs. Maybe. And then the big dick position everyone cares about, quarterback. Some of the analysts, the analytic guys, the nerds, the pencil pushers, the real Moneyball types will tell you that you need a good quarterback to win. And I agree with that. A lot of people will also tell you if you don't take a QB in the top 5, you might as well not even take a quarterback at all. Seems dramatic, but the numbers bear it out. As long as you totally ignore Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers and Drew Brees and Ben Roethlisberger and maybe Nick Foles and maybe Joe Flacco, who the Broncos already have. There's 4 quarterbacks that will presumably go in the first round this year. Kyler Murray, who seems like a lock to go to Arizona at 1. Dwayne Haskins, who threw 50 touchdowns and won a Rose Bowl in his 1 year as a starter at Ohio State. Drew Lock, a strapping young Missouri lad with a rocket arm who has caught the wandering eye of John Elway, maybe. And Daniel Jones from Duke, whose best quality is that he will technically go ahead of Zion Williamson in the draft this year. But he also has, good mechanics and shit. However, he looks way too much like Chad Kelly for me to trust him. And I wouldn't be knee-deep in making some flacking off shirts if I wasn't all in on Joe Flacco. When will they be done? I don't know. Again, I believe Kyler Murray will be the greatest quarterback to ever play the game because he's short. Yeah, I said it. So unless Elway tricks Arizona into giving him the first pick, like he tricked the Jets into taking Sam Darnold last year, then I don't want a QB at 10. I'm not sold on Locke or Jones at that spot, and I don't think Haskins will fall there. Flacco is an older and more handsome Drew Lock anyway, so I think Denver should continue to stack that defense and play to the strength of their new head coach. I think those are the likely areas for the Broncos to go, but they could also take a tackle. Tackle is an interesting position because of Mike Munchak's arrival. You could rely on him to raise the level of play from guys like Garrett Bowles or give him a rookie to mold in his image. The problem is there isn't an obvious tackle pick at 10, assuming Alabama's Jonah Williams is off the board. Maybe Jawan Taylor out of Florida, but I get the sense that if they look at tackle at 10, it would be reaching as opposed to best player available. Also, can an offensive line be good with 2 Jawans at tackle from Florida? That's a question that's as old as time, really. I vote no on tackle, mostly so people don't spend draft night bitching on Twitter. Drafting a lineman top 10 is like getting underwear for Flag Day. Sure, you need it, but wouldn't you rather put a flag on a flagpole? Then there's the idea of tight end. The Broncos probably won't take a tight end at 10 because none of the top guys are injured enough to entice John Elway. Right now, the 2 tight ends that will probably go in the first round are Noah Fant and TJ Hawkinson, both from Iowa, because everyone saw George Kittle and decided Iowa is to tight ends as 30-year-olds are to Sean McVay. I'm split on drafting a tight end early because while they've obviously been lacking production there since Owen Daniels, they've poured a lot of resources into it, including re-signing Jeff Hireman, drafting Troy Fumagalli, and putting 2 years worth of recovery time into Jake Butt, who we tend to forget looked pretty good prior to his injury last season. But I understand you can't count on any of them to stay healthy. And that's where guys like Fant, Hawkinson, Irv Smith, or even a mid-round guy like Josh Oliver, who the Broncos have shown some interest in, would be welcomed in Denver. Especially if they got Ed Oliver too. Offensive coordinator Rich Scangarello probably wants a tight end more than anyone. I don't think the Broncos will draft a tight end here, mostly because Joe Flacco has never really utilized or played with an elite tight end. So why start now? In fact, the Broncos' injury-prone tight end should be extra worried after we saw what Joe Flacco did to Dennis Pitta's career. The final draft verdict is this. I've basically narrowed it down to either quarterback, Ed Oliver, or Devin White, and odds are one of those will be there at 10. Obviously, a quarterback will be there at 10, but I mean like one of the good ones, preferably Dwayne Haskins, which based on this Google image looks very plausible. So the top 4 choices in descending order here at That's Good Sports are Oliver at 1, White 2, Haskins 3rd, and Locke, I guess, 4th. If the Broncos pick someone else at 10, it's because crazy shit happened in front of them, like the ghost of Al Davis forces John Gruden to take DK Metcalf, or everyone is wrong and the Cardinals don't really want Kyler Murray and quarterbacks fall, just like Brad Pitt's legend. And here's my super psychic prediction. Drew Lock falls to 10. The Broncos don't take him. This is their best case scenario because then Washington at 15 or Miami at 13, both teams who need a quarterback, overpay to jump the Cincinnati Bengals to select Drew Lock or whoever it is that wears out the crotch of their pants. And that way the Broncos can maximize the capital of that 10th pick and get extra out of it. That's how I play Moneyball. And I do have a bigger dick level Patreon donor shout out for Bobby Hillman, who gave me $20 when he was drunk one night. Thanks, Bobby. I clearly need to target people when they are drinking to give me too much money. And thank you to Connor Hoagland for the $5 Patreon donation. You can support this channel at patreon.com/thatsgoodsports. Thanks for watching the Broncos draft episode here. Please read your mock drafts carefully. I cannot emphasize that enough. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, at Brandon Perna if you want to follow me there. Follow at WillKeys6 as well. He's my writing partner, and he is a Twitter whore. I'm asking you to become one of the Will Army. That's what Will Keys follows are Will Miniums.